Melissa. Welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to be talking about a video that I made a year and a half ago. And we're gonna follow it up with a video. I think I had originally planned to follow up this video with another video, and then I forgot, and now I'm rambling. So as you could see from the title of this video, today we are going to be having a follow-up to what were my 5 highest rated books on my TBR. Also my now highest rated books on my TBR. Also in that video at the time I still had physical TBR books. Now I only have 2, so I'm not going to include them in this list. But now we're going to be going on my Goodreads to get a live reaction. But first let's talk about the old list. So the first book on this list is The Shadow of the Wind, and I ended up DNFing this. I was okay with it, it was good, and then all of a sudden we walked in, this teen walked in on these two, not teen, I think he was teen, he was a young kid, and he walked in on 2 adults having sex, and it was weird. Something about it made me uncomfortable. I didn't like it, and it was just weird, and I didn't like the vibes it gave me after that scene, so I DNF'd it. And it wasn't anything that was that monumentally amazing where I was going to keep reading it despite that one scene. The next book is A List of Cages. I DNF'd this / didn't really read this. I ended up finding out that I knew this going into it, but I found out that the content in it is very intense, and just starting it, something about it it was intense. Also, I don't read YA contemporary. I just need to give up on it and realize it's not a genre that is for me. Me and YA contemporary, we don't mesh. We're not friends. The next book is a book that I still own, so that's a good sign, and that is Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi. I love this book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, I believe. It was very intense. This was a graphic memoir all about the Islamic Revolution in Iran in, I think, the 70s, I want to say. It was just good. It was really, really good. I have no complaints. I ended up giving it 5 out of 5 stars. It wasn't the most enjoyable read because it's not supposed to be like that. It was real life. It was real life. It was real things that happened. And it was just very eye-opening. I didn't really know much about it before I read this book. Next book, well, books, is Mouse, the graphic novel series. I don't know, or if it's just the 2, but I owned both of them, and honestly, I tried so hard. I could not get into it. Something about the writing style and looking at it was so unappealing and ugly, and I just didn't like it, that I DNF'd it and I didn't finish it, and I have no regrets. I felt like the artwork didn't change enough for me to be able to pay attention, and when you're reading a graphic novel you need a lot of changing things to understand the storyline, and sometimes if everybody looks too much alike, which in this case everybody was a mouse, then yeah, so I didn't enjoy it. Last book on this list, which is the least shocking that I loved, and I'm impressed that I finally got to it, is Winter by Marissa Meyer. I love this book, 5 out of 5 stars. I love this series. It is one of my favorite series of all time. This book was absolutely no freaking different. I loved this book. Wow. Back when you could go to book signings? Anybody remember those days? Wow, those were good days. Loved this. I will reread this series in the future. That is it for the old list. Now I'm taking my handy dandy laptop and we're gonna go to Goodreads and we're gonna look at my books. I'm not doing a screen report thing or anything. I'll just look at it and then I'll pop it up on the screen. I'm not gonna do anything that's not released yet because that's not fair. So we're only gonna do things that have been out for a minute. So the rules of this game that I'm setting the rules for is it has to have been out for a decent amount of time, I guess at least a year. So I'll do a 2019 release, but nothing sooner than that. And it has to be a first book in a series. I'm not going to do the 5th book in a series because that's going to have a different amount of people reading it. It's different. Oh, wow. I mean, not surprising, but dang. Okay, Not surprising at all, actually, because this is the only book of his that I have on my TBR, and that is Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. This is honestly, in my lifetime right now, as we speak, the only Brandon Sanderson book that appeals to me. If we're being completely 100% honest, it's the only one that sounds interesting and something that I can grasp with my little brain cells that I have left. There are 68, almost 69,000 ratings, and it has a 4.52. Wow, I didn't expect this to be that high up. The next one is A Silent Voice Volume 1. I don't know how to pronounce the author's name, sorry. But this is a manga that I've had kind of on my radar for a while now, and once I can get interlibrary loans, which I can't do right now, then I will read more manga, but for right now, I have no access to it. This is what I've wanted to read for a while now. I've heard it's about a like student bully situation relationship that I think evolves over time. So I'm really interested to see how that plays out, but I've heard nothing but wonderful things, so I do expect to love that one. Book number 3 is Everything on It by Shel Silverstein, which again, it's Shel Silverstein, not surprising. I didn't give you the average on the last book, my bad. Average rating for A Silent Voice is 4.40 and has 21,000, almost 22,000 reviews. Number 3 is Everything on It by Shel Silverstein. This has 13,000 ratings and an average rating of 4.38. Again, not very shocking. I love Shel Silverstein, and I'm just trash for his work. So I do expect that when I do read that, it will be rated highly. Next one, number 4, is Maybe You Should Talk to Someone, A Therapist, Her Therapist, and Our Lives Revealed. This is obviously a nonfiction memoir about a therapist, and I started it and it was interesting. It's just I haven't been able to find an audiobook of it, so you know me and reading physical books with no audiobooks. I don't know how it will pan out. That's probably the one I'm the least sure of, I would say. I don't know how it's gonna go. Next one would be a book I read when I was a child, and I'm not including that. Actually, the last one, which is not surprising that it's on here. The last book on this list is An Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir. It has 185,000 ratings and it's an average of 4.27. And I started this, when did I start this? Months ago for a readathon. I think it was a Disney-a-thon, and I did like it. I was so slumpy that I just couldn't read it. What I had read so far, I had liked. I guess the last two probably are 2 books that I'm on the fence about, I would say. Not on the fence of like whether or not I want to read them. I want to read them. I'm just on the fence about whether or not I will like them. Wow, interesting list. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know some books that you have that are highly rated on your TBR or are very, very, very popular. I would like to know. And 2 out of 5, that's not bad, right? Right? For me, it's not. The DNF queen, it's really not that bad. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and hope we'll see you in the next one. Bye.